everybody, welcome. I'm Daniel G. Garza, and this is another episode of Put It Together live stream. Welcome. It's a special edition Thursday night show. I want to welcome all our friends that are watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. If you do me a favor and share this on your pages, make sure that your friends and family can watch the show along with us. If you're watching us on YouTube, will you do me a favor? Scroll down, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It'll let you know every time there's a new show on the page. And remember, we got horoscopes on Monday, Christian and Daniel on Wednesday, Card Devo on Fridays, Put It Together regular show on Saturdays. And then we got these pop-up shows that come up every once in a while. So we want you to be informed and be ready. So make sure that you are following us on YouTube. Today, I have a special friend. We've been friends for a short time, but I feel like I've known her for a long time, mainly because we're working together on a project, and we'll tell you more about that. Let me pop up her name. Her name is Tracy Engel. Tracy Engel is the owner of Be Trace Fit. Tracy is a personal trainer and nutrition coach. Tracy has loved movement from the moment her mom first taught her to dance in the kitchen of her childhood home when she was just a toddler. Tracy is certified by the National Academy of Sports Medicine as a personal trainer and a nutrition coach. Why can't I say coach? Nutrition coach. She has over 20 years experience in the health and fitness industry. Tracy's goal is to help people find an exercise and nutrition routine that works for their body. Their goals and their lifestyle, so they are able to live many healthy years of doing the things that they enjoy. And without further, let me bring her up so she can talk more about it. Tracy, hi, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
How are you?
I'm really good. A good day today.
Good day. For those of you that always wonder how I know my guests, Tracy and I met through a mutual friend, Dana, who is actually the third in a podcast that we're part of. That's how we connected. It's a new podcast called Things I Know. Look it up, and I'll post the link later on. But I wanted to show the picture of us, and I laughed because we just saw each other earlier today. But here's the three of us today. Let me let you know that we did not coordinate this. It just kind of happened that we were all in blue. But this is the three of us after our morning session today. Podcast. Now, you had never done a podcast before, correct?
Never. Yes. And I was nervous the first time, but it was so much fun.
How did you get into, how did he con you into doing the podcast?
Oh, you know Dana. He knows how to get real people in and get them going.
Thanks, babe. That's Christian, my partner. Thank you for nice. Yeah, it is a nice picture. It was a nice picture. And I've got more pictures of them alone that I'll post at some point. But for those of you wondering what's the show about, Things I Know. Things I Know is a show about 350 and over folks talking about things that we've learned since we turned 50. And today, first episode is up, and we'll post it out there. The first episode was what hit me when I turned 50. And that was a really interesting conversation.
It was very fun.
And then today was things what I still don't know. What I haven't learned. What I haven't learned about being in a relationship. So we're relationship. I will post the link, Christian, so that you guys can listen to it.
We've learned a few things, but still working on it, huh?
Yeah, but the cool thing was that I knew there was stuff that I didn't know about being in a relationship, but then listening to y'all, a lot of more things popped up about relationships and being in a relationship and stuff. So for those of you wanting to listen to the podcast, episode 1 is up. The link is in the chats, so check it out. You can go check it out in the chats and follow with us. But today, we're not going to talk about the podcast more. We're going to talk about Tracy. So Tracy, without further, because I know you have a big story to tell us how you put it together.
Well, I will start with the connection to movement, like it said in my bio. That's where it all started for me. Um, First learning how to dance, and just movement and music kind of started my path off as a very young child, um, in what turned out to be my passion and what made me feel most connected. Um, Growing up, of course, I took lessons and competed and danced all the way through college, and then started teaching fitness classes at 17. Started teaching aerobics back in the day when we wore leg warmers and all of that. Very funny to look back now. But I found that it brought together two things for me, like my joy of movement and then my joy of helping people connect, feel good, and learn to move better. And that was a great revelation for me when I could help people feel some of what I felt when I moved and danced and enjoyed just feeling good in your own body. Um, so after that, was in the industry for quite a while. Was a mom and enjoyed that part of my life, and raising my daughter and being married and all of those things. And as my daughter grew up and moved away to college, my former spouse and I decided that it wasn't working for us. So went through a divorce and got a chance to come back to my first love, which is fitness, and actually start my own business as a personal trainer and nutrition coach.
Wow. Talking about you brought I triggered a lot from the aerobics days. You talk about what were there people in your family that were into like the dancing, the movements, the nutrition part of it?
That's a great question. So, my brothers, I had two older brothers, and we all did swimming, and they also did water polo. So we were kind of sport oriented family, but I was the only one who had kind of dance. My mom was young, so that's why she, entertaining me in the kitchen when I was little. We learned how to do the pony to the Beatles, right? But nobody else in my family had dance as their main activity, but we were all active. And then back in that time, nutrition wasn't talked about a lot. But I felt like we did eat pretty healthy because we didn't have all the convenience foods that we have now. So most things were homemade meals.
Yeah. Because I feel like sometimes it's either one or two. Either you come from a family that was very into nutrition and sports and active, or some people came from the obese side of it where your family just was not careful, or what do they call them? I just lost the word. Kids that kind of grew up on their own.
Oh,
Lat,
right.
lat, 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 lat,
Latch.
you know what I'm talking about, right? Yes, that sounds
Yeah.
right. That you were, because I was one of those kids. Like I kind of came home and took care of myself for a little while before my parents got
Okay.
home from work, and for a long time it was just like sandwiches. You got home and had a sandwich and just sat in
Right.
front of the TV, did your homework. Um, so as you get older, um, were you a take care of myself? Because you grow up here in Southern California?
Yes, I did. I was born in Anaheim, grew up I'm sorry, born in Whittier, grew up in Anaheim, um, went to college at UC Irvine, so very much a Southern California girl. Um,
And I don't know, like, because I was born in Texas, so Texas is a different beast in itself. Did that influence you as you were growing up?
I do think I was lucky because because of the lifestyle here, because of the weather, the tendency is to be more active. And I know because food and culture are so closely intertwined, right? So that can really affect how you eat and how you feel about food as you then start to get to make your own choices.
What is, as you get older, and I guess what I'm trying to get to is the connection, because I talk a lot about body, mind, and spirit, especially when it comes to taking care of ourselves. Is there when it comes to nutrition and health and exercising, is there a body, mind, and spirit connection that comes with it?
Oh, I think definitely. It's all connected. When you move and you feel connected to your body, I think that does change your mood, your mindset. In fact, I think the science shows that now. Kind of one of the best ways to break yourself out of a down mood is just kind of go out for a walk. And when you think about that spirit-wise, in nature, fresh air, moving what your body was meant to move. We are so much more sedentary now that those all work together when you do an activity like that.
And I apologize, I lost track of the timeline. So you're young, is that what you went to directly when you were going off to college, or?
Yeah, no, my road was definitely a curved path, right? There wasn't a direct line. So when I was in college, I studied political science, thinking that I would go to law school because I thought like that was probably the best, most practical thing to do. And that's what my older brother did. So I thought I would go that route. But after getting my degree, which I loved, I really enjoyed the education. It was very good. But it wasn't what I was passionate about. So I did then get a job as a fitness director at a club. And so I started to do that as my work, and did that for a long time and really enjoyed it. Once after I was married, my husband had to move. We had to move out of state for a little while because of his work. So I had to leave that position. And eventually when we came back, because I had my daughter, I went into early childhood education because I wanted my schedule to fit with hers. That was also an amazing experience. You learn a lot. I'll tell you, when you talk about kind of body, mind, spirit, when you watch 3 and 4-year-olds, you just see it. It's all together, the way they play, the way they move, the way they don't care. It's just an amazing experience to watch them. So I did that for a long time. And when I got divorced, I needed to have like a normal job for a while, where I had kind of predictable income and benefits. So I did an office job for a while, which gave me a lot of insight to people. Most of us spend a lot of time sitting in front of computers, and that can be a real challenge. So that actually helped inform what I do now, I think. So I use that time to kind of plan and save and figure out. And I'm very blessed to have this chance to go out on my own and come back to my first love, and try to really focus on helping people who are over 50, and that set of us who, as we age, we don't want to be in our 20s or 30s or compete with the gym rats, good for them, enjoy that, but we're kind of in a different place in life, and there's a way to make it work for you in this stage of life, and
Right.
it doesn't have to be extreme. They've really shown, the science now has really shown that really small changes can get you a lot of benefit. So I like to help people. Sometimes people don't, or so there's a big barrier to start, right? Starting any new habit is not easy. So if you make it doable and step by step, you still get great benefits and it fits for your life.
That's pretty interesting, because it's not an uncommon story that, and I'm gonna put it on the spot, like for females too, moms, like you get married and you kind of like follow the husband's lead wherever. And I think some things have changed a little bit more over the years, but we're talking what, 90s, somewhere in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So where it was
Yes.
still like wherever the husband went, the wife kind of follows along, and your dreams and goals were kind of put aside for a little bit. Um, was it, what was the level of difficulty to pull your dreams and your goals out and try them on for size again?
Actually, I was really lucky. It wasn't difficult because um, once you know family was always really important to me, and my family that I grew up in, I know not everybody has a great childhood story, but I had a wonderful, warm family. I'm very blessed. So leaning into family, and then once I had my daughter, being a mom, I really, when she was little, I wanted to be home with her, and I'm glad that people have different opportunities now. You can balance that out, or maybe the husband wants, it's great that it's a lot more flexible, as you point out, than it used to be, which is perfect for families. Um, but I was really happy to take that time to be home for a while. And then as she grew up, I got to try different things with doing some early childhood education, um, volunteering in her classroom. All of that was really a joyful time for me.
Can we talk about that a little bit? Because I know there's still females, and I come from the Latino background. There's a lot of females that don't know how to balance that, or haven't been. We talked about this in the podcast earlier today, like these things that we inherit from our parents, things that we don't know why we know them. We just know them from them. Um,
Yes.
how were you able to do that, to balance things out? Was it difficult? Was it hard? Or, and who was it? Was there somebody that told you, it's like, hey, Tracy, you can actually do everything you want, be a mom and have a career?
I think I think, yeah, a lot of it came from my mother's example. I did take a back seat a little bit. So, getting to this point where I would step out and start my own business, I never thought I would do that. So it was a lot of friends kind of encouraging me and saying, "You can do this." That helped me take that next step, which I really appreciate. But when I was at home, I think it was probably my mom's example that she stayed at home with us when we were little, and then started teaching school, like second grade, I think was her classes that she taught. And she went to school at night to finish her
Oh
teaching
wow.
degree. So yeah, really hardworking, because she was married at 18, 3 kids at 21. So a very young mom. So she had to finish her education while balancing family. So she was an amazing example that way.
That's pretty cool. So moving forward a little bit in your story, once you decide to start this part of your business, how does that come to be? Where does the idea, you're like, you know what, I'm getting back into this?
So the idea really came from friends saying, you're obviously passionate about this. They encouraged me, and we all have those self-doubts. Can I do this? Am I really good enough? Is there a market for it? So I had a lot of friends really encouraging me and supporting me and saying, you can do this. You are good. You have something to offer to people. You can help people and make a business out of it, which I appreciate.
Were there any barriers to starting?
I think probably like the biggest barrier is my own self-doubt. And I wasn't a business person. I'd never made a business plan or that kind of thing. I tend to be, it's funny because I'm out in front usually and performing and that kind of thing, whether it was dance or teaching aerobics, but I'm a little more of a shy person naturally.
Yeah.
If I go to a class, I stand in the back, but if I teach the class, then I'm in the front. So my tendency is, it was internal barriers that I had to get over.
Well, that's pretty interesting because let me just tell the folks, in the 2 episodes that we've done the podcast, you have a lot of information to share. So I find it hard to believe that you're shy, but okay, well I'll give you that one for right now.
I get that. People have said that before.
You talk about the personal barriers, and I think for a lot of us who start our own business, like I turned 50 and pretty much started my a career really. Um, and you're right. Sometimes the biggest barriers are the ones that I create for myself, which are really usually just smoke walls that I think I have to climb over, but they're not. Um, was that the case? And how did you get? How are you getting through it?
It was definitely the case that's where the barriers came from, and then you figure some stuff out as you go along, like why do I have those fears, and why am I a little timid and don't want to put myself out there more or make waves, or it's like fear of am I good enough, or do I have something to offer that people are actually going to want to purchase? Are they going to get something out of it? All those doubts and fears. Am I going to make a fool of myself? That and a lot of them go back, I think, to childhood stuff. When you kind of put it out on the table, and the way I've gotten through it, I think, is just one thing at a time. So I've done slow build, kind of word of mouth, trying to take one step at a time and build off of the different successes and start to feel like, okay, well, I was able to do my website. That was good. Okay, what's next? We're having a list of goals and just kind of one step at a time build is a good thing.
Very cool. For everybody watching, I am talking today with personal trainer Tracy Engel. We're talking about her career and personal training and nutrition. And so if you have any questions about anything when it comes to nutrition or personal training, please post them so we can share them with her. So we're going to change pace a little bit because I do want to know, because obviously we just talked about the podcast we're doing, which is 3 over 50 folks. So obviously we're over 50. Is it harder for older folks uh, to find a balance in nutrition and or exercises?
That's a great question. So I think a lot of people think it's harder, and I don't think it's harder necessarily, but it's different. So what you would focus on and what you would choose would be different in the over 50 age group. And of course, within that, there's a wide range, right? We come in all different places, even after 50. So it's finding the right fit for you. There's the difficulties, I think, maybe come in getting started. It's that first barrier, and again, like maybe going back to self-doubt. It's like instead of looking at what I can't do, what I did maybe when I was 20, but that's okay. One of the biggest changes I think that people don't take into consideration is as you age, you need a little more recovery time. So if you're going to do a really hard workout, where when you're young, I think most people can relate to that who were active when they were young or athletes, you kind of bounce back. I guess you just kind of bounce back more easily. Even when you think about when you were in college and you went out drinking, you bounced back really quickly the next day. Where if you do it later in life, you're like, oh man, that didn't go so well. It's your body just takes a little longer to recover. So if you just factor that in your workout, that's a huge, huge help.
All right. So we actually have a question which really ties in with what you're talking about. When we exercise, is it true it benefits your body for 48 hours afterwards? And how should we eat after we work out?
That's a great question. I love it. So yes, certain kind of workouts really do benefit you for a full 48 hours afterwards. And those are usually the ones where you do some interval training. So you hit kind of the high intensity and then come back down. Those really tend to rev up your metabolism for a longer period of time. That's why they've become very popular. You've probably heard like HIIT training or interval training. You can do it not a long period of time, but you do a little higher intensity in intervals, and the effect on your metabolism can last up to 48 hours afterwards, which is like, who wants to burn more calories when you sleep? Yes, please, right?
Where's that workout? Where's that gym?
So that is true. It does work that way if you do it right. And eating afterwards, you really want to make sure, depending on what you did, you really want to make sure you get enough protein, especially over 50. Lean, good protein is so important because we tend to lose muscle mass over time. So replenishing and basically giving your body the building blocks to build back your muscles, like we talked about recovery. Build back your muscles so you can recover and get stronger. That's really important.
Now as we get older, health issues pop up. Some of the basics and more commons like high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, all those. And then you have things like, for instance, me, cancer survivors. Does your body require a different type of workout once you hit those points in your life?
Absolutely. I mean, the first thing you need to do definitely is, all the waivers say this as well, so you probably run into it, is that you do need to check with your doctor. Right. And a trainer needs to know, do you have high blood pressure or diabetes or any other special needs? You would want to factor that in for sure.
Yeah, the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That's very specific.
That's very specific. You would definitely want to check with your doctor on what's recommended for you.
But say, for instance, like, okay, and I always like to put myself in the hot seat. Like, for instance, I'm a cancer survivor, and I have an ostomy bag, and sometimes those things do affect. For anybody who's been through chemo, you know that high chemo will affect your cartilages, will then give you arthritis, whether you want to or not. It's just going to happen. So, first of all, there is the mental part. It's like, if I work too hard, not only are my muscles going to hurt, but my bones are going to
Your
hurt
joints.
more.
Yeah.
So you're like, do I really want to do like now it's just seeking pain for pleasure, because that's what it's like seeking it out. Say, for instance, my doctor's already said, yes, you can start exercising.
Oh, good.
How would you say, for instance, I'm your client and I'm coming to you and I'm like, hey, this is my history. Like, I know for a fact that no matter the intensity of the workout, I'm going to hurt tomorrow, because it's just a given.
Right.
What steps could you take with somebody like me that has that mental block to get me into the right space to do the workout?
Right. Well, so I think the first thing is kind of like we talked about before, about one step at a time, right? You would want to make sure that you start very easy and build. There are lots of things that you can do that aren't hard on your joints. And I always think that the building block for us generally is cardiovascular fitness, right? Heart and lungs, we need those to work well throughout, and just even addressing that with low level cardiovascular walking, that kind of thing, is a great start. And then you start to add, you can add simple resistance, not even weights, where it's very gentle on your joints. And for someone who had more joint issues, I would probably recommend starting with some exercises in water. It takes some of your body weight off your joints, but you've got the resistance against the water. Some people will just do you can do some laps around the shallow end of the pool, like almost like you're running. But you're pushing through the water, and it's not as hard on your joints.
Gotcha. So we have another question for you. Is it true that still joints develop arthritis much faster and easier? And does exercise keep arthritis of the joints at bay? Good questions.
Very good questions. I love it. So yes, it is true. Moving your joints will keep them healthier and keep arthritis. Again, everybody's a little different, and depending on what kind, and hereditary and all of those things. But yes, movement is a great way to keep arthritis under control and at bay. And mobility, right? Stretching, range of motion. It doesn't have to be like dancer-like stretches, but moving through range of motion, taking those joints through the range in a slow and controlled manner, can give you really good benefit.
Yeah, because again, these are just like prime examples of, like, if you already have a physical issue, like a mobility issue, for instance, the steel joints where it can flare up or cause you a fever, or most people are like, well, if it's going to cause me, I already have issues going on.
Right.
If it's going to give me more problems, like, why even start? Does that sound right? Have you heard that?
I think some people fear that. And usually if you're working with the right person who's not just trying to take their plan and like just transfer it to you, is really taking you into consideration and designing a program especially for you, it should make you feel better. It should. We all know exercise does release certain chemicals in the body that gives you a good feeling. and your joints should respond positively. You can get a little bit of soreness, of course, when you first start. We've all gone through that part, but if it's really designed properly for you, you will get past that in the first little bit, and it should feel better and better as you move forward.
Because having a personal trainer doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going for the big bulgy muscles and the six pack. Like, I'm happy with my little keg on my belly. Like, I'm good with that.
I love it.
Just as, I mean, like, for instance, 52 or 51, I have post-cancer, ostomy. I've had arthritis for a long time because of other issues. Like, at this point in my life, I don't want to be buff. I just want to be toned. I just want to look, I want the butt to look good in the jeans. And I don't want my gut to stick out of my t-shirt. Like, there's like my standards of what I want to do with a workout are like not that high.
Right.
But most people have this idea that hiring a personal trainer means that you're going in to be Mr. Muscles, but it's not true, correct?
Correct. I mean, thank you for that, because that almost like sums up my whole business perspective. And that's why I focus on people, because so many of the trainers are wonderful, but they're young and they're very focused on people who want to get to that highest level of fitness and do something different that way, which is great. But a lot of people over 50 and beyond, that's no longer their goal. And a personal trainer should be able to help them get to where they want to, their goals, something that fits into their life. Because also, as we age, our lives are different, and how much time we have to and how we choose to portion out our time might be different as well. So being able to find a program that fits your particular body, your particular goals, and your lifestyle. Because if it's something that you say, you know, I want to run a marathon, but I only have 2 hours a week to spend, that may not be a realistic goal. So you may have to, let's try 5K. So you have to understand how to, is it realistic for your life? And so if you put those three things together, then you can really be successful. That and I think the support, right? Having somebody to check in with, to support you through the difficult days, and just be accountable to all of us need that to kind of build a new habit.
That's a pretty big one, because sometimes we don't get the support. You say, I want to start doing this. I want, and if you don't have the right people going around, you're like, okay, well, let's do it. I want to go for a walk. Let's go for a walk. Let's just do it. Which is something that Christian and I have started doing when we're together. I need to do it more on my own too, but we try.
That's good.
So if you can think of 3 things that you wish people would ask you when they're asking about your services, what are 3 key things that they should ask you or any personal trainer?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I love that. Because I do think one of the big things for me is it the right fit? Because if it is a unique relationship, and it does have to fit properly. And I always feel like I want to have that initial conversation with somebody and see if it's the right fit. And if I'm not the right trainer for him, I like to provide them, with referrals to somebody else who might be a better fit for them. So that's a great question. The 3 things, probably they would want to find out maybe what the person's, they really need to find out what the person's education is, because that would be important. what the person, what their philosophy is for training. Because like I have a point of view, and you'd want that to kind of line up. Like if somebody's very much, like we talked about before, maybe trains high level people who are looking to compete, and they really enjoy pushing a lot, cheering on, but like holding people, like give me 20 more style. For some people, that's what they want, like the boot camp style. For some people, they would run away and go, that's not going to work for me. I didn't come up with a third one.
we'll put that one on hold for a second.
Okay.
But you're right. I'm a challenge person. I don't like to be screamed at. Like, I don't want to go to the gym to be screamed at. Like, if you're going to scream at me, we better be dating, because otherwise, like, yeah, this is not going to work. But I do like a good challenge. I used to have a trainer back in Houston, and he would challenge me. It's like, okay, can we do this much leg press today? And that's when I discovered that I didn't really like weights. I like doing machines, but I'm not big on weights. But I did like him to push me and be like, okay, give me 5 more push-ups or
right. No, that's an important piece. If you can really encourage someone to go, because we all have those mental barriers, and if someone kind of goes, okay, you can do those last 2, you go, yes, I can.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah. Anytime he called me a wuss, I was like, what do you mean I'm a wuss? Of course, I have to tell people I was in my 30s then, so that's like 20 years ago. So
that often works on 30-year-old males.
Bruised my ego a little bit, and I was like, "What do you mean I can't do it?" Especially because it was I'm a gay man, and this was like a straight gym place, and so I wanted to prove myself. I was like, "What do you mean I can't do it? Let me show you how a gay man does this." And so it was the energy was very different back in. Now that I'm 51, I'm like, listen here, Junior, scream at me one more time.
Well, that helped me think of the third one. So it would be kind of talk about what motivates you. Talk with the trainer about we all have our little hooks, like what motivates us to do a little more, to get there. So talking about that with your trainer, I think, is essential.
We have another question for you. I don't want a skinny guy who added muscle to his skinny body to try and tell me how I should lose weight. He has no idea how my not skinny guy body works. That's a really cool point, because like we joined the gym right before the lockdown, so I haven't been to the gym since. And wow. But the guy that was assigned to me as a personal trainer to go visit, I haven't been, is a bodybuilder guy. Like, he's this muscly, and I messaged him and I said, hey, here's my situation. I have an ostomy. I'm a little concerned about stretching too hard or pulling too hard. Do you have any experience? And his answer was like, well, come down and we'll see what we can do. And I was like, I don't want to be there and something pulls. Because
you don't want to be a guinea pig?
Yeah, because a hernia is very possible when you have an ostomy. I'm like, sure. I don't want to be in that position. And Christian is right. Christian is a big guy. And like, to have somebody who has never been a big person to try and tell a big person how they should move, or they're not active. Because like Christian is he's pretty mobile. Like, he can run faster than I do. He can walk more than I can. I'll be honest, I'm not. But I'm that kind of person. I like working on my computer. I don't like working on my body. So I would need somebody that understands, hey, you're really getting a start, or hey, this is a bigger bone person. Like, can we work on that? Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. 100%. You need someone who understands the full range. And that's why I asked about you want to ask about the education piece. Because someone who's just always been an athlete and just comes from that lens, that's great. And they can work with a lot of people, but that limits their expertise on working with people who are not lifelong athletes, right?
Yeah.
You'd have to understand that and have been educated in how to do that. Yeah, but the nutrition part, someone who's educated in nutrition training should know how to address all different body types and wherever people begin.
Yeah, because their Christian says, I would rather have a trainer who has a dad bod or a mom bod because they can actually relate to my life and challenges. That's true. You want somebody, and although it doesn't affect as much, I do want somebody who understands culturally where I come from. Like
Yes.
I like my rice and beans and tortilla. Like that's part of my diet, and just like I would think your primary doctor, you want your primary physician to understand your culture, your way of thinking, how you view your body, right?
Yes, it's so important because if you don't connect on that level, it's really hard to be successful. And the food part it's a big thing. And that's why when I talked about, it has to fit your lifestyle. So if you're asking someone who their culture, it has a lot of certain foods and you're asking them to eliminate those, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. So you can adjust, take things and maybe portion them differently, right? But you don't deny yourself the things that you love or the things culturally that are important for celebrations. That you there are no bad foods, right? Food is food, but there's a balance of how much of each kind of food, and if you can do that, you can enjoy all different kinds of foods, but you're just balancing out the nutrients and the portion size, so it works for your energy expenditure basically, and to give you all the nutrients you need to make your body healthy.
And you folks should see how much I can balance on my plate. So just to put that out there. I know it's not what she meant. So this is the part of the show where I ask for words of wisdom from our guest. So Tracy Engel, tell us, what words of wisdom do you have for our viewers?
I love that. I will try to tap into the wise. Um, I think my words of wisdom are connect to your body, and breathe, and just find that space where you can connect to movement, whatever that is, whether it's just taking a stroll, doing a little bit of stretching, dancing a little bit. I sometimes still turn on music in the kitchen. I gotta admit that I dance by myself sometimes. But take that time just to connect, and I think you will find it helpful.
Nice. Um, I'm going to put up your. Oh, we have another comment. Hold on a second. I recently saw some person on social media saying that to be a truly healthy, people should not eat breakfast and eat moderate lunch and dinner. Does this have any merit?
No. That's a simple no. I'm going to tell you one of my pet peeves. People who give advice on social media who don't know who they're talking to. If you don't know the person's individual situation, you don't know what their goals are, you can't tell them what to do. Like for some people, the skipping breakfast thing, you've probably heard of intermittent fasting, which some people find really easy and really helpful because they just don't eat for 16 hours. So from nighttime to through the morning and start. Yeah. he's like 16 hours. It works for some people and there's nothing wrong with it if it works for you and you're still getting enough nutrients, okay, beyond calories. So you have both the macro and the micro, right? You need enough overall calories, but you need enough nutrients to make your body function properly. So if you can get enough in that time, that's okay. But like for me, I'm a breakfast eater. It's wise to start with protein to kind of kick off your metabolism in the best way. So that it usually is best for most people. Again, you'd have to make sure that you're addressing the individual's needs, but the whole everybody needs to skip breakfast, not true.
Not true. Because that reminded me, I heard this after I stopped doing it, not because of what they said, but I was under the impression, maybe you can correct me, I was under the impression that oatmeal was a good breakfast meal until somebody told me that because of the fiber in the oatmeal and it cleans your system, that it's actually to eat good. It's good to eat oatmeal later in the day, not first thing in the morning. Is that true?
So again, it would be preferences and personal situation. So for the most part, having fiber is good throughout, and you want most of your meals to have about 5 grams of fiber throughout the day. It helps in many ways, even like absorption. So when you eat something with sugar, if you have fiber as well, it changes the way it absorbs in your system, so you don't get those sugar spikes, which we don't want. But generally speaking, protein first thing in the morning is a good way to start your metabolism and start your body off in the best way.
Gotcha. All right, cool. So for those of you that like your scrambled eggs and bacon in the morning,
but you can do like there's these great recipes for oats where you use Greek yogurt and oats, and so you can put it together in different ways to make it work. But you made a face like no.
Yeah, well, I'm lactose intolerant, so anything that's dairy first thing in the morning.
Oh, okay. I get it's like
it's not gonna
work.
Because I've heard a lot of people talk about this, like, oh, yogurt, and I'm like, I don't like. I have to take a lactate, and then I have to, because I have an ostomy. Sometimes there's consequences, and when you're as active as I am, you and this is why this is a perfect example of you need to have a conversation, because I've had nutritionists that I've interviewed on the show or talked to outside of camera, and they're like, oh, you should do the dairy, and I'm like, I don't do dairy, like it's not for me, but I do like soy milk or almond milk or stuff like that, and I like those. But the moment people say yogurt, you've lost me. Like I'm gone. Like
done.
Yeah. Like I've already ordered McDonald's.
I can see it.
I've already ordered McDonald's on DoorDash. You've completely lost me. I'm out of here. So, but even that, can we clarify that even in fast food, there are some good choices that you can make if you're a person that's on the go. Fast food doesn't have to be your enemy if you make the right choices, correct?
Correct. Fast food is not your enemy. I mean, I think you want to make it seldom, right? You don't want to be doing all the time, but also fast foods have given people a lot more choice now than when we were kids, right? That you can get a salad at McDonald's, that was not a thing before. So there are a lot more choices, or it's enjoying what you really, really love, but just once in a while, and not like supersizing it. Keeping the portion size makes such a big difference. So you can have a little bit of what you love, so you still feel satisfied, and it's important not to be deprived, because you'll never, that's not sustainable. Nobody wants to live like that for over a lifetime.
There's the nights when I've ordered a bunless burger, or like McDonald's has a really nice crispy chicken sandwich, and I'll order it without a bun and just add extra lettuce to it. And it's a really nice little pick me up that doesn't feel heavy, but still you enjoy the idea of a fast food meal without the fast food taste, if that makes sense. So
It
uh,
does. I think that's smart.
yeah, so I do things, folks. I do things. So I want to make sure that you guys check out btracefit.com. Go check out her website with all the information. If you want to contact Tracy direct, check her out at btracefit@gmail.com for any questions or information. If you're interested, and let's say it, if you're over 50 and you're looking for somebody that understands what your body is going through, what your mind and your spirit are trying to do, uh, email her, ask for questions. You are in the Southern California area. How big
Yes.
is your span?
Oh, great question. So, yeah, I'm in South County as far as meeting people one on one, but I'm able to do virtual as well. So I have trained people. I even had one client in South Carolina,
Nice.
so I can do virtual as well.
Yeah, so we're both here in Orange County. So if you're in the Orange County area of Southern California and you want a one-on-one, email her here. Check out her website. But if you're watching us anywhere in the country, uh, still check her out and send her an email right here. She can do the virtual stuff with you. And
And
remember, go ahead.
always happy just to have a conversation. Just because the important part is just get started.
And if you are interested in hearing more from Tracy, check us out at thingsiknow.podbean.com, where you can find our new podcast. Episode 2 is coming up pretty soon, probably tonight. Here's the three of us, Dana, Tracy, and myself. I really do like this photo. It's a real cute photo. It's a cute picture. Like it's uh, and again, we were all in blue by coincidence. This was actually the shirt I was going to wear this morning, and it would have matched the shirt that the blouse. I mean, the dress that you were wearing. So there you go.
Yes,
Uh,
exact same color.
anyway, Tracy, don't go anywhere. I'm going to say goodbye to all the folks. Anything we missed before you go?
I think we covered it. This was great fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to put you in the green room for a second, and I'll be right back for you. So don't go anywhere. For
Okay.
everybody watching, I want to thank you for watching. Today's guest has been personal trainer Tracy Engel. Make sure you check her out. Want to remind y'all that we have our shows during the week. Check us out on Wednesdays with the Christian and Daniel show at 6-9 Eastern. The Card Devo on Fridays at 5-8 Eastern. And on Saturdays, put it together at 12-3 p.m. Eastern time. And remember, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn for all the updates on shows. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and smash that bell. It'll let you know every time there's a new show. And just like tonight, we sometimes will have pop-up shows during the week, and you want to know what's going on. So make sure you follow us. And then on Mondays, I post my podcast. This Monday, I did not have, I'm sorry, my horoscopes. This Monday, I didn't have horoscopes because it was 4th of July, and I totally forgot to post up. So, but I'll be back next Monday with horoscopes for you guys. So make sure you check us out on any of the social media pages: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and some of the other pages for those of you that follow me. And here on YouTube, you can find the horoscopes every Monday. For now, I want to thank Tracy for joining us today. I hope y'all got some information. Again, if you want to get in touch with her, rewind a little bit and you'll get her website and her email. Thank you all for commenting and for your questions. For now, I'm Daniel G. Garza saying, hey, put it together. See you next time.